A few hours after one of the best performances in their World Cup history, the Iran national team was told to pack up, get on a plane, and leave the country they had just played in. Not the next morning, that night. While their opponents went back to a hotel, Iran's players were driven to an airport for a 140-mile trip across an international border, because under the rules they have been handed at this tournament, they are not allowed to spend the night in the United States. And here is the part that should bother every football fan, whatever you think of Iran's government. When FIFA's own president walked into that locker room, he did not offer to fix it. He offered a hug. Let me walk you through exactly what is happening and why it is bigger than one team. Here are the facts, and they are not in dispute. On Monday, June 15th, Iran played New Zealand at the stadium in Inglewood, just outside Los Angeles. It finished 2-2. By most accounts, it was Iran's best World Cup match in years. They should have been celebrating. Instead, according to head coach Amir Ghalenoei, the team was informed after the final whistle that they had to leave the United States immediately and return to their base in Mexico. They had expected to stay overnight in California to recover, the way every other team does. Instead, roughly 2 hours after the match ended, they were boarding a plane. Their base camp for this World Cup is not in the country where they are playing. It is in Tijuana, on the Mexican side of the border. Moved there, the team says, from Arizona just weeks before the tournament began.
And this is the detail that turns a bad night into a pattern. This is not a one-time security hiccup. According to Andrew Giuliani, the executive director of the White House task force set up for this World Cup, the arrangement is the plan for every single Iran match. Teams, he said, arrive match day -1, the day before, and leave the day that the match wraps up. So for all three of Iran's group games on United States soil, the routine is the same: fly in, play, fly out. Iran's captain, Melli, described what that actually costs a squad of athletes: around 5 hours of travel and security checks bolted on to either side of a World Cup match. No home base, no recovery night, just a border to cross, again and again, between you and the games you qualified to play.
So why is this happening? The stated reason comes from the United States government, and to be fair to everyone, I am going to give it to you exactly as it was given. Per Andrew Giuliani, the policy traces to Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and the line he quoted was blunt: "Anybody with direct ties to the IRGC is not coming into the United States," a reference to Iran's Revolutionary Guard. The position, as the task force framed it, is that the World Cup would not become a way around that restriction. Now, the players on this team are footballers. Whatever you make of the policy, the squad in that locker room is caught inside a fight between two governments that has nothing to do with how they play. Coach Ghalenoei's response to all of it was 4 words: "We have no idea why."
Which brings us to FIFA, because this is supposed to be FIFA's tournament. After the match, FIFA President Gianni Infantino did go to the Iran dressing room. By the team's own account, he praised them. He told them, and I am quoting, "I know what you go through, I understand, but you are stronger than everything." Warm words. But when the obvious question came, would FIFA actually step in, move the logistics, do something? The answer was a deflection. Infantino's reply, per reporting on the visit, was about destiny and heart. "You are writing history. The whole world is watching you." FIFA has reportedly declined Iran's request to move its fixtures out of the United States. Taremi was diplomatic but clear. He said he believes Infantino is trying to help. Then he added the line that says everything: "I think FIFA have to help us more than this. A hug is not a fix."
And all of this landed on a team that already had nowhere that felt like home. Back in March, Iran had openly floated boycotting its United States games before deciding to compete anyway. The backdrop is a region at war and 2 governments that barely speak. And then there was the stadium itself. Inside, the crowd was not one crowd. It was a battle. Banned pre-revolution flags, the lion and sun, flew across the stands despite a FIFA prohibition. Parts of the crowd booed Iran's own national anthem. Outside, hundreds of Iranian Americans gathered to protest the government in Tehran. So picture it from the player's side: no base in the host country, a border to cross after every match, a divided crowd, and a governing body offering encouragement instead of answers. Whatever flag you wave, that is not a level playing field. Now let me steelman the other side, because outrage without fairness is just noise. The United States will say this is not a stunt aimed at a football team. It is a standing security policy about Revolutionary Guard ties that existed long before the World Cup, and a sovereign country controls its own border. That is true. FIFA will say it cannot override a host nation's immigration rules, and that it did get the team in, did get the games played. Also true. And Iran did play. They were not banned, they were not disqualified. But here is the question that survives all of those fair points. FIFA chose to bring this World Cup here. FIFA drew the groups. FIFA knew years in advance exactly which nations might qualify and exactly what the politics were. A World Cup makes one basic promise to every team that earns its place: a fair shot under the same conditions as everyone else. A squad crossing an international border after every single match is not playing under the same conditions as everyone else. That is not Iran's failure to fix, it is FIFA's.
And the strangest part, through all of it, Iran walked off that field with a draw and one of their better World Cup showings in years, and almost nobody is talking about the football. The story became the airport, the border, the locker room visit, the flags. The 90 minutes disappeared underneath it. That is what happens when a tournament keeps stepping on its own moments. So I will leave you with the honest question, and I read every reply. Is this just the unavoidable cost of a security policy nobody at FIFA controls? Or is football's richest organization quietly failing a team it personally invited to the party? Tell me below. And if you want the World Cup coverage that actually keeps track of this stuff, subscribe, because 3 days in, the list is already long.